So we talked about the round of 16, all 4 days, all 4 groups, who got out, who unfortunately fell out before that round of 8, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about the effects of this tournament. What does it mean for professional StarCraft, for your casual ladder experience, and in this specific video, I'm going to talk about what it means for the upcoming round of 8 and then some that is all being played Friday, November 1st at BlizzCon. So first, the good stuff. The positives. What am I going to be excited about for this upcoming tournament, and what you might want to be excited about too? For me, it's disruptors. Disruptors seem to have made a comeback in PvT and might even be coming back in PvZ, and hell, maybe one day we'll see them come back in PvP. But I was especially excited to see how many disruptor openers there were and how many just, 2 or 3 Colossus being built into disruptors that were utilized in the PvTs we saw in the round of 16. Disruptors are that fun crowd experience. The casters can get hype about the disruptor shot, give enough time to really let it soak in that we could see something amazing, and then it either gets an amazing shot or it whiffs, both of which get the crowd reaction of the oh no and that type of stuff, which seems to be a little lacking in StarCraft 2 sometimes. So I am personally excited to see more disruptor usage. The bad news about that is that we don't have a lot of PvTs, and I'm not sure it's as exciting in PvZ right now. So the other super exciting thing is just the quality of matches you're going to be having for the round of 8. Whether you like ZVZ or not, there's no denying that these players deserve to be here and that they provide a lot of fun builds, fun storylines, and just fun StarCraft 2 games. They did that in the round of 16, and we are certainly hoping they'll do that in the round of 8 and then some. Is it always going to happen? No. We've had some bummer round of 8s before. We've had some terrible finals before. Let's be real. But it's pretty likely, with the quality of the round of 16 games and how close it all was, none were really super obvious, that it's going to be a fun time for the round of 8. You're going to have your Korean versus non-Korean storylines, which is always the most exciting. You're going to have these, is Serral going to get the back-to-back BlizzCon victories? One of the only persons to do so, of 2, I believe. And you're going to have the question, is Serral really going to completely put a stop to Korean domination? Was last year a fluke? Are GSO versus the World just too different of a format? Does it actually matter if Serral never plays in a GSL, if he takes both victories BlizzCon 2018 and 2019? Is he actually just a Bondra of StarCraft 2? That's right, I said the B word. These are all amazing questions that are going to be answered on Friday, and I do hope that everyone tunes in to watch, even though the next part is about maybe some of the things we won't be excited about. And now for the more bad news. I think you all know where I'm going to be going with this, but the thing that we might not want to look forward to, but is highly likely to happen, or as highly likely as it can be, I suppose, with the amount of Protoss that we're left over with, is the Nydus Worm Swarmhost. Just the Nydus Worm in general may be a problem, but Nydus Worm Swarmhost was simply not fun to watch for the round of 16. Doesn't really matter if you're a Protoss player or a Zerg player or a Terran player. If you're cheering for one player or the other, I mean, if you're cheering for Rogue and you hated Knee, why would you? But let's just put that out there. Did you actually have fun watching Rogue just belittle the Protoss player? Is it imbalanced? I'm not going to go and answer that in this video. In fact, I'll never answer that. That's up for everyone else to decide, pro gamers especially. But I will say that it wasn't fun to watch as a total typical viewer. Now, if there's a casual person that comes in and watches this, they might be like, well, this just looks like regular StarCraft, what's the problem? But there's no back and forth. So it would be a terrible example to show someone who's just getting into StarCraft, which is kind of what BlizzCon wants to do, what the Global Finals want to do, is hook, line, and sinker a lot of the casual watchers watching the biggest tournament of a specific esport, and then actually get them to continue watching because, hey, that was actually really great. Swarmhost Nydus probably isn't going to do that for a lot of people, and it's not going to leave the die-hard fans like me and probably you guys feeling good either. I want to boil down why the Nydus Worm and Swarmhost both feel like they're such bad things to watch, but it might not be the same reason as to why you think that it's not very fun to watch, but here I go. In my eyes, the Nydus Worm is a potential problem and mayhaps always will be a potential problem. It's one of those structures, one of those skills that seems to have a very high skill cap that's not actually being used to the best of its ability by every Zerg player. But when it is used, and when it comes back into that meta, whether it's been nerfed or not, and it comes back, it seems like it can create those moments of, well, I guess it was fine, and then quickly, oh god, no, it isn't fine. And I think the reason for that just sudden, like, well, this is okay, and then, oh, hell, that's not okay, is that it does boil down to the instant reinforcement that StarCraft 2 just doesn't really like to have. There was a lot of discussion, hell, there still is a lot of discussion about whether or not taking away Defender's Advantage with the Protoss Warp Gate mechanic and the Warp Prism was actually overall a good thing for StarCraft. Now, Protoss has been pretty much balanced for 10 years, and hell, might have been underpowered for a large portion of the time, but then had too much community hate on their victories, how they get their victories, to actually seem like they were underpowered. But it's been balanced, and there's not really any complaints here in this video about Warp Gate, but the idea that a Nydus Swarm is even worse with, right? That even worse than a Warp Prism warping in 14 Zealots 20 minutes into a macro PvT. The Nydus Swarm can do that from a fairly early point and also reinforce literal entire armies instantly, forcing a lot more multitasking on the defender side than the attacker side. When the Nydus Swarm first became a problem earlier in this year in a more macro sense than just a typical all-in sense, a lot of people, and me too, I was the one shouting this here, is that Zerg players won't even necessarily like this. This actually isn't what's creating the best EVZs after you watch it for about 10 or 12 times. And then the Nydus Swarm was nerfed, and people kind of forgot that maybe wasn't the best, and it was occasionally used for the all-ins and so on and so forth. But now we're here again with Swarmhost Nydus Swarm. You have those instant reinforcements that just suck in general, but you also have it with this deadly unit that's one weakness, one of maybe a couple weaknesses, but certainly the biggest weakness is that it's immobile. You take that away, you take away not just them having to move across maps, literally moving with their little scuttle, but also the ability to catch them while they're moving. You just take that away entirely. There's no way to actually kill these suckers. And even though the game might be winnable, it doesn't feel like a back and forth, which is what StarCraft 2 is at its best. It's a back and forth, hey, we almost are finding that breaking point, but not quite. Let's do more harassment, let's do more battles, let's not actually decide all of this in one fell swoop. And Swarmhosts kind of feel like that can happen. They're everywhere at once. If they do get a Locust Wave off, one Locust Wave can kill key structures. It adds a fatality to an otherwise okay back and forth game when Swarmhosts just pop and get a Nexus or Command Center or whatever they get. So as I said, these are my opinions as to why both the Nydus Swarm and the Swarmhosts, and then combine them together, isn't very fun, even though it might not actually be imbalanced. It just isn't fun to watch someone look like they're struggling to breathe when they actually can get to shore, maybe, you know, in that sense that it is balanced, but it just looks like you're looking at them and you want to throw them a lifeline, and you're just like, sorry, buddy, you gotta deal with the Zerg, gotta deal with the ocean yourself. You don't feel very good when you watch that type of game. But I might be biased. I was cheering for Neve, I'm not going to lie. But I honestly think with the community's reaction, all the pros, all the fans, Twitter, Twitch, whatever, that it actually isn't just fun to watch. And it is very likely that we'll see that again if we get more ZVPs in the round of 8. So the other bad news, sorry to make this all bad news, I suppose. We might have a ZVZ finals. We might have a ZVZ semifinals. And that is actually going to be. Now, before the anti-ZVZ haters get on my back about this, I actually love ZVZ. I figured it was a good matchup about 2 years ago when everyone else was still a little more the hate train, and then everyone realized it could be a good matchup with how Cyril was playing it. We had Cyril versus Raynor, we had Cyril versus Rogue or Dark, which one. We have a lot of good ZVZs that prove that matchup is more than just boring Roach concaves. And it is still a fun matchup. It is still some variety, especially when you get particular players like Raynor who can throw out a lot of Ling-based builds and Muta builds. But it doesn't actually matter what the quality of the matchup is if the overwhelming sense from the community, the fan base, the dedicated viewers, and the casual viewers is that ZVZ equals ZZZZ Resident Sleeper. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, you think outside the box, man, like be your own person. If ZVZ's fun, then you gotta say it's fun and just don't listen to the haters. okay, let's live in the real world for a second here. A casual viewer gets in and sees nothing but spam about how much ZVZ sucks. They're going to be more likely to believe it, even if they think it might be an interesting game, even if it's something like Korea versus, you know, Finland, probably. They still will be like, well, hold on, here's something wrong. On top of that, whether you're a casual fan or an experienced StarCraft 2 viewer, you are innately, 99% of the time I'll say, there's maybe some special people out there, you are usually cheering for a specific race. It's the one that you identify with, it's the one that you practice a lot with, it's the one that you've enjoyed previous matchups in the last 10 years with. You usually are cheering for one race or another. If you give us a mirror matchup, whether that's ZVZ or otherwise, you're taking away 2/3 of the race fan base. And again, before everyone gets on the whole, like, you know, be your own person, think your own stuff, it's really quite acceptable to look at a new esport, or even one that you've sort of watched but aren't really into, and be like, you know what? That guy's from America. Let's cheer for that guy. You know what? That guy plays the character I played in Street Fighter. Let's cheer for that guy. There's something there to latch onto, and a lot of the time for StarCraft, with its 3 races being probably the most identifiable thing about the video game, about its lore, it makes a lot of sense that people would come in and be like, Terran's not here, I don't care. Protoss isn't here, I don't care. It's just simply not good to have a lot of mirror matchups, and it's ultimately the worst to have a mirror matchup in the finals, even if it's the best damn finals in the world. Now, if you're a casual fan and you're like, wait, I'm confused, am I supposed to be excited about this or not? Be excited if you want. If you actually like, wait, I'm a Zerg player, this looks fun, please, by all means, enjoy it and love the semifinals and the finals. I know I will probably enjoy it, and it'll probably be some sick games. We'll still have Korea versus non-Korea, which is the best driving storyline of StarCraft 2, but it is overall, I would say, a bummer. You're gonna go to your friend's house and be like, you ever gonna watch StarCraft? And be like, oh, I guess I'll watch BlizzCon. I hope it's on ZVZ. And you'll be like, oh, it's probably ZVZ. That has already happened. That was already happening in Montreal. People would be like, I don't know, it's ZVZ. It's just a fact, and it's an unfortunate one, but I sincerely hope that we do not get a mirror matchup in the finals. And I know everyone's hoping for Mara versus Serral, and that would be the sickest finals, but let's just hope in general for non-ZVZ. That does it for the personal bias opinionated portion of this video. This was added on to the first part of the video that was just an attempt at an unbiased recap of the round of 16, and I will have that link down below if you want to watch it. If you missed it, this only just now popped up on your feed. Please take a look and tell me what you think about the format, what can be done a little bit better, as I do want to go for more recaps on the premier tournaments, especially for 2020 and 2021 and so on and so forth. If you like this opinionated blog and you just either like it and you're like, yeah, I agree with that, or you like it because you hated everything I said and actually disagree heavily with it, but you respect people's opinions, then please comment down below with what you think might be a problem, what you think might be exciting about this. And hey, our disruptor's good. Our swarmhost nydus actually the most fun builds ever. Let me know. I hope you all enjoyed this 2-part video series, and I look forward to doing more of these for future StarCraft 2 tournaments. Thank you very much, everyone. Please follow the channel. Follow me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/ZombieGrub. I stream every day of the week, and I hope to see you all later here on youtube.com/ZombieGrub. Bye-bye.